In the heart of a forgotten city, cloaked in perpetual gloom, lay the abandoned Blackwood Academy. Once a place of learning and joy, it now stood as a crumbling ruin, shunned by all who lived nearby. The academy had been sealed for decades, after a tragedy so horrific that the townsfolk refused to speak of it. The legend whispered among the locals was that 50 years ago, on a dark and stormy night, the entire student body vanished without a trace. No bodies were ever found, and no explanation was given. The academy was shut down, and it became a place of nightmares, its haunted reputation growing with each passing year. For friends, driven by a mix of curiosity and bravado, decided to uncover the truth. Sarah, Mark, Lisa, and Tom armed themselves with flashlights, a camera, and a sense of adventure, and ventured into the decaying building one moonless night. As soon as they stepped inside, a chill ran down their spines. The air was thick with a sense of malevolence, and the darkness seemed almost alive. The corridors were lined with old, rusted lockers, their doors hanging ajar. Every step echoed unnaturally, the sound bouncing back distorted and eerie. Graffiti covered the walls, messages of despair and warnings to leave. But it was the silence that was most unsettling, a heavy, oppressive silence that seemed to press in on them from all sides. As they explored, they came across a room filled with old desks, each one covered in a thick layer of dust. On one of the desks lay an old, leather-bound journal. Sarah opened it, revealing the last, frantic entries of a student named Emily. Her words were a desperate plea for help, describing how the students had begun to hear voices, see shadows moving in the corners of their vision, and feel an overwhelming sense of dread. The deeper they went, the more the atmosphere changed. The air grew colder, and their flashlights flickered as if the batteries were dying. The friends began to hear whispers, faint at first but growing louder and more insistent. The voices were crying out in agony, pleading for release. Shadows moved just beyond the edge of their vision, and the sense of being watched became unbearable. In the gymnasium, they found old sports equipment strewn about, and the bleachers were covered in strange, dark stains. A scoreboard still displayed a game that had never ended. Suddenly, the doors slammed shut behind them, and the whispers turned into screams. The friends tried to escape, but an unseen force held them in place, pushing them towards the center of the room. The walls began to close in, the space around them shrinking. The screams grew louder, now accompanied by the sound of footsteps and the clanging of chains. The friends realized they were not alone. Figures emerged from the darkness, twisted and deformed, their faces frozen in expressions of terror. These were the lost students, trapped in a perpetual nightmare. Panicked, the friends ran, only to find themselves in a maze of hallways that seemed to shift and change. They came upon a door marked basement and, with no other option, descended into the depths of the academy. The basement was a labyrinth of old boiler rooms and storage spaces, each more decrepit than the last. In the darkest corner of the basement, they found a room that seemed untouched by time. Inside were the remnants of an old classroom, complete with desks, chalkboard, and textbooks. On the chalkboard, written in a child's scrawl, were the words, "We are cursed. Free us." As they read the message, the room grew colder, and the whispers became a deafening roar. The friends realized they had to find a way to break the curse. Desperation fueled their actions as they gathered the old belongings and formed a circle.